Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the editorial analysis, let us start the session with a nice quote. Excuse me. A life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. This quote given by G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw. A useful quote: a life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable but more useful because we learn from our mistakes than a life spent doing nothing. Doing nothing, it cannot be justified. But do something, initially mistakes, no problem. We learn from our mistakes, and that is more honorable. Today's editorial is all about air pollution in Delhi and the blame game. There's one particular expression, blame game. The center blaming Delhi and Delhi government blaming the center and the farmers in and around Delhi. So it's all about that. It's about air pollution. Good morning to all of you. It's all about air pollution. And besides, there are more than 20 words. It may take a lot of time today's editorial. I really doubt whether we are going to get time to work on practice questions or not because 20 plus words. And besides the words and other aspects related to English language proficiency, you're going to work on practice questions based on exam topics like errors, fillers, one word substitutes, idioms, and editorial words. Let us have a look at the words from this editorial. As I said, there are so many words, more than 20. Some of these are very important. Let us have a look and see what is important, what is not important. Concerted, it goes with the word, the noun, efforts. Concerted efforts. Then you should understand the word concerted is an adjective and efforts noun. So what exactly does it mean? Oh, don't worry. 1.5 marks, I Arvind. Bad luck, but don't lose your confidence. Don't get disappointed. Next year, I'm sure you are very close to your success. And next year, you will definitely get selected. I wish you all the best. Nothing to worry. Sometimes success gets delayed, but when you work hard, you are dedicated, success is inevitable. No one can stop your success, nothing can stop your success. Perhaps sometimes it gets delayed. Nothing to worry. And in this context, because 1.5 marks, you're very close to success. My suggestion next time, make sure you fill all the gaps and make sure you don't leave any stone unturned. Then it is going to happen. So let us go to concerted efforts means what? Determined and serious or done together with others. In this context, it means more done together with others. Concerted efforts. Unfold. You all know the word fold. Fold something. Opposite unfold. Open or spread out from a folded position. Easy to understand. Advent is an important word. Advent of something. It takes the preposition of. Arrival. Advent of something. Arrival of a notable person or thing. Advent of winter. Advent of summer. Advent of something. An important word. A retreat. This usually goes with army, soldiers, and a particular activity. An act of moving back or withdrawing. Imagine the army is going forward, it decides to come back, then we use the word retreat. Bid has got many meanings. The word bid usually goes with auction, bidding, but in this context, to attempt, make an effort or attempt to achieve something. His bid to achieve success, his attempt to achieve success. Straw, you all know the straw. While having a soft drink, you use a straw, some people, but in this context, it has got a different meaning. What is that? Dried stalks of grain used especially as fodder or as material for thatching, packing, or weaving. This goes with farmers and cultivation. Chaff also the same thing. The seed coverings and other debris. Debris is an important word. S is silent. separated from the seed in threshing grain. Thrashing also you can use, thatching also you can use. The separated seed covering. For that we also use a word. We also use a word husk. Noxious, it's an important word. Some of the words are very important. Noxious gases, noxious, it goes with gases, and toxic gases also another combination. Harmful, poisonous, or very unpleasant. In this context, unpleasant, more than unpleasant, harmful, and poisonous. Stubble, the root cause usually Delhi problem, air pollution problem, stubble burning. What does it mean, stubble? Short stalks which are left standing in fields after corn or wheat has been cut. The farmer cuts the wheat or corn after harvesting, and the part of the plant that remains in the field that is known as stubble. And what they try to do for the next crop, they try to burn it. So there's one important expression, stubble burning. Spike, we have got many a time. A sharp increase in the magnitude or concentration of something. Surge also you can recollect. Spike. Spike as a noun, a different meaning, something very pointed. But spike as a verb, sharp increase. Overnight. Overnight, literally, you can understand what it means. Overnight, one night. But it has another meaning as an idiomatic expression. Overnight means suddenly and unexpectedly. Usually, I say you can become good at anything, everything, but you cannot become good at something overnight. Means what? Suddenly, unexpectedly. Everything takes time. Imagine you want to become good at reading comprehension skill, you want to become good at grammar, you want to become good at vocabulary. It is possible, but it takes time. And there is another saying based on this: Rome is not built in a day. It takes some time. So overnight, suddenly, compelling, another word, it has got two or three meanings. One meaning, something that is captivating or interesting. But in this context, capable of causing someone to believe or agree. And the typical combination based on this meaning, compelling evidence, means what? Uh, Capable of causing someone to believe or agree. Cessation, another important word, the fact or process of ending or being brought to an end. Cessation goes with exactly. And no one is a born leader, no one can become a star overnight. The fact or process of ending something, cessation, end something. Provoke, we have got many a time. Provoke means what? Incite, instigate, deliberately make someone annoyed or angry. Outcry, another important word, a strong expression of public disapproval or anger. Public, the public, if they don't, people don't like something and they show some sort of disapproval, then we use the word, there was an outcry from the public. Hurried, we all know. Harried, what is the meaning of the word harried? Worried and angry, there's a different meaning altogether and a different word. So, worried and angry, especially because people keep waiting things from you. So, harried is different, hurried is different. Harried means what? Worried and angry. Why? Because people keep waiting things from you. Forgiven, forgive, forgave, forgiven. Stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. You forgive a person, someone has made a mistake, then you forgive. A recurrent, we have got many a time. Occurring often or repeatedly, something happens repeatedly, we use a recurrent problem. It goes with problem. Descend, ascend, descend. Move or fall downwards. Upwards, ascent. Downwards, descent. And dispensation, another important word, able to be replaced or done without. It means to get rid of, do without something. And root cause, this is also an important expression, a root cause, the basic cause of something. What is a root cause? Whenever you try to solve a problem, you have to look at the root cause. Particulate matter, a typical combination, particulate matter, relating to or in the form of minute separate particles. Minute particles in the air, we use a word, particulate matter. And impediment we have got many a time. Means what? Hurdle, hindrance, something that blocks, obstruction, hindrance, obstruction in doing something. Amenable, open and responsive to suggestion, easily persuaded or controlled. So these crux is also a good word. These many words from the editorial 20 plus. Now let us go to the editorial. As I said, I have changed the approach. In a nutshell, I will tell about the editorial. Then we'll focus more on the language part simultaneously, what the editorial is about. This editorial is all about air pollution in Delhi, the capital city, the reasons behind, and also it focuses more on the blame game. It starts with and the blame game. So what is this blame game? If someone points out someone else and that person in turn points out someone else, it is like a game, and blaming someone else all the time, not owning not taking the responsibility for a particular problem. So and it is all about the blame game between the center and Delhi government. And the main reason writing this particular editorial, air pollution in Delhi. Every winter, this is something like a recurrent problem. It happens every year, every winter. All the newspapers, magazines, they write about air pollution in Delhi and the reasons behind, and obviously the solutions. And the blame game here, and can be usually it is a noun, the end, but here it is a verb. And can be a noun, can be a verb. And ended, it's a regular verb. And what? They have to end, they should end, they must end. The blame game, this is the object. Subject is understood, they should. Here they means the center and the Delhi government. And they should end the blame game. Here the blame game is a phrase. If I write the letter P, understand phrase. If I write the letter C, understand clause. And verb in this context, the blame game. They're blaming each other, and editorial feels they have to stop that and think of a solution. What is the main idea of this editorial? Concerted efforts, subject, are verb, needed for a long term solution to Delhi's pollution crisis. Here, whenever you read a sentence, first you should be able to focus on the basic elements: subject, verb, object. Excuse me. Here, concerted efforts, so that is a subject. And do remember, subject can be a word, a noun, it can be a phrase, it can be a clause, a noun phrase, a noun clause. So concerted efforts, here it is a noun phrase, are needed for what? For a long-term solution. But here it is in present tense passive voice. What is it in active voice? Whenever you come across a sentence that is in passive voice, you have to know how to change it to active voice. We need concerted efforts. We need concerted efforts. Concerted efforts are needed by us understood. Concerted efforts are needed for what? For a long term solution. Here there's a problem. What is a problem? Air pollution in Delhi, needed for a long term solution to Delhi's pollution crisis. So, this talks about what is needed, what is required for a long term solution to Delhi's pollution crisis. Answer: concerted efforts are needed for a long term solution, not a short term solution, to Delhi's air pollution crisis. There is one word here, concerted, means what? Determined and serious, or done together with others. In this context, it means done together with others. That goes with the context. As I said, whenever you come across an editorial, every editorial is written based on a stimulus, some incident, some event. Then they write the editorial, then they try to provide the background information, the reasons, the solution, all that, cause and effect. Here it starts with a familiar sequence of events unfolds in the national capital region before the advent of winter. Here, a familiar sequence of events, that is a subject. Again, a phrase. There are two phrases. A familiar sequence of events. Two phrases are there. Unfolds. What is the verb here? Unfolds. Here it is in present tense. Subject is sequence. This is very important. They may give a sentence like this in the exam. A lot of students may think the subject is events, but here it is not the subject. What is the subject? Sequence. That is third person singular. Sentence is in present tense. We should add S or es to the verb. Based on that, a familiar sequence of events don't consider. A familiar sequence unfolds present tense. We added S or es to the verb. In the national capital region, a familiar sequence of events unfolds. Ask the question where, then you get the answer in the national capital region. That is a phrase. Then you ask a question when, before the advent of winter. That again adverbial phrase of time, adverbial phrase of place, adverbial phrase of time. So a familiar sequence of events unfolds means opens up in the national capital region before the advent of winter. When? Before the advent of winter. And there's one important word, advent. Advent means what? Arrival of something. In this context, advent of winter, arrival of winter. Before the arrival of winter, a familiar sequence. Familiar means what? Known. Familiar person, familiar face, familiar words. The monsoon retreats. See here, focus on the verbs. The next sentence is, thank you very much. So here the sentence uses depends on parallel expression that you have to grasp. The monsoon retreats, dries the air, and the wind drops. How many verbs do we have here? Three verbs: retreats, dries, and the wind drops. So it is in all the three are in the three verbs in the present form. So it is parallel expression. So it talks about a familiar sequence of events, Delhi region, before winter. Now it talks about what happens this time, before the advent of winter, what happens? The monsoon retreats, one thing, dries the air. While retreating, what happens? It dries the air. Monsoon, then you come across moisture. And when the monsoon effect or impact is not there, it becomes dry, the air becomes dry and the wind drops. You don't experience the wind. The pollution, then here it talks about the reasons behind this situation, air pollution. One, it talks about the monsoon retreats, dries the air, and the wind drops. Second factor, the pollution, that is a subject from construction industry, road transport, hitherto being masked through the year, becomes more visible. See here, the pollution that is a subject and becomes more visible. The pollution becomes more visible. Subject, verb, easy to make out if you isolate the phrases and clauses. Adding information to the subject, the pollution. From where? Ask a question. When you ask a question, you get the answer. Usually, writers, for answers, they provide the information in the form of phrases and clauses. The pollution from where? From construction industry, road transport, hitherto being masked through the ear means so far masked through the ear. Mask now you all know it's a familiar word means what? Hidden. Masked through the ear becomes more visible. Till now not visible, now visible because of the impact of monsoon. However, contrasting information. The period also coincides. Again, the period subject coincides, verb present form, with a unique practice in northern India. Coincides with what? Again, you ask, then you get the phrase, a unique practice in northern India, where farmers in Punjab, Haryana, and eastern Uttar Pradesh, in a bid to hurriedly clear the fields of rice straw to make space for wheat, set fire to the chaff. Such a lengthy sentence, but if you try to look at it language point of view, here you come across farmers set fire to the chaff. Three key words: farmers subject and set fire. That is set fire, set verb to the chaff. But in between you have so many words and you have phrases and clauses. However, contrasting information, the period also coincides with a unique practice in northern India. And here you have to focus on, very good, who is that? Ramesh. Unique, a unique. Then you have to become alert and recollect the rules that go with indefinite article a. What is that? Usually, school level they teach we have to use the indefinite article a before nouns that begin with a consonantal letter, but it is incomplete before a consonantal letter or a consonantal sound. Here, if you take the word unique, it begins with a vowel letter, vowel sound, but it a vowel letter, but it begins with a consonantal sound, u, ya sound. That is consonantal. So you have to recollect that, and also the examples: a unique person, a European city, a university, a uniform. All these examples you have to recollect and consolidate your knowledge. A universal rule, you have to focus on the word practice. What is the reason? TICE, that is a noun form, and TISC is a verb form. And many exams they've given questions based on advice practice so many times, because under pressure it is not easy to make out TICE, TISC. You don't focus on that, but that may you may lose a mark based on that. So you got to be careful. Where farmers in Punjab, Haryana, and eastern Uttar Pradesh, in a bid to, there's one important word, bid. Usually the word bid goes with yes, of course, even that you have to recollect. Before certain compare adjectives, you cannot use you cannot compare certain adjectives. So you cannot use a definite article the. What are the examples? Unique, perfect, complete. You cannot use the definite article the. The most unique, wrong. The most perfect, wrong. The most complete, wrong. So in a bid usually goes with auction. You all know the word auction. Auction, they bid. Someone says 100, someone else says 200. It goes that way. But in this context, it has nothing to do with an auction. It has a different meaning altogether. What does it mean in this context? In a bid to hurriedly clear. Bid here means attempt, make an effort or attempt to achieve something. So, in a bid to hurriedly clear their fields of rice straw to make space for wheat, set fire to the shaft. Set, again, an important verb. Fire, set what? Fire to something, to shaft. What is the meaning of the word shaft? Straw, shaft. All this go with agriculture. Straw means the dried stalks of grain used especially as fodder to feed the animals or as material for thatching, packing, or weaving. And shaft, the seed coverings and other debris separated from the seed in threshing grain or thrashing grain. Here, you can also think of husk. When the seed cover is separated from the seed, we also use the word husk. This long standing practice, this is the subject, this long standing practice, and it's a noun phrase, is now facing. Now it talks about, it's an adverb, when, now, but is facing present continuous tense. The long standing practice is now facing what? Criticism. Why, you ask the question? Because of its emerging link to Delhi's noxious air quality. Now, farmers have been doing something, have been doing present perfect continuous, a particular practice. For many years, it has been in use. And here the sentence talks about this long standing practice is facing criticism. Why is it facing criticism? Because of its emerging link to Delhi's noxious air quality. There is one important word, noxious. Noxious means harmful, poisonous, or very unpleasant. Usually it goes with air, noxious fumes, FUMES. The stubble smoke, again an important word, stubble, short stalks which are left standing in fields after corn or wheat has been cut. The farmers, after harvesting the crop, they cut the corn or wheat, and you see the stem, parts of the stem still in the field. That is known as stubble. And what they try to do to clear the field so that they can sow the seeds for the next crop, they try to burn. Stubble burning is a problem, and so many articles have been written on stubble burning. The stubble smoke, when they burn the stubble, it generates smoke. The stubble smoke carry over, that is a phrasal verb. Here it is in present tense, carries over into Delhi. through long range wind transport. So, what carries this stubble smoke from the states in and around Delhi? The wind transport, long range wind transport. Finally, the third element. So, here the editor talks about the different elements responsible for air pollution in Delhi. The third, when you look at the third, you have to think of the rule. Before ordinal numbers, we have to use a definite article the first, the second, the third. Finally, the third element during the season is the Diwali and the bursting of crackers. Bursting of crackers, an important expression. The third reason, Deepavali. Then elaboration regarding that particular about that particular point. The season is also marked by one more reason. The season is also marked by more social gatherings, such as weddings or related celebrations, that again see a demand for crackers, in a way related to. At the time of Deepavali and at the time of during that period, a lot of events, especially social gatherings such as weddings or related celebrations. And because of these events or incidents or social gatherings, there's a demand for crackers. And bursting of crackers obviously results in air pollution. While there is an official ban on crackers, here you have to look at ban on something, ban on uh, crackers. That I will explain later. Please let me complete this one. While there is an official ban on crackers, except so called green crackers, now there is a ban on crackers, but there is no ban on something. What is it? Green crackers, but the editorial uses so called green crackers. The expression so called, it has to some extent derogatory connotation, not approving something. So called means you're not, you don't approve. So here, a demand for crackers after that, while there is an official ban on crackers, except so called green crackers that are not widely available. These green crackers you cannot get just like that, they're not widely available. Perhaps only a few manufacturers they resort to manufacturing green crackers. The additional smoke from all of these add to the bad air. Additional smoke from all of these, besides stubble burning, add to the bad air, spiking air quality meters into the very poor and severe categories. There's one word over here, spiking. Spike means what? Sudden increase. For that, we also use the word surge. So, spiking uh, air quality meters into the very poor and severe categories. This provokes, this is a subject demonstrative pronoun here, but this can be, you have to recollect demonstrative pronouns, demonstrative adjectives. This batch, then it's a demonstrative adjective. This provokes, here it is a demonstrative pronoun. How to remember? If there's no noun after the word this, it is a pronoun. If there is a noun, it is an adjective. And demonstrative pronouns or demonstrative adjectives, they are four in number: this, these, that, those. And these are very useful when it comes to parajumble. Any sentence with this, these, that, those cannot be the first sentence. This provokes a public outcry, provokes, instigates, incites what? A public outcry. Provoke means deliberately make someone angry or annoyed, and outcry, a strong expression of disapproval, public disapproval. And concerns from the Supreme Court. Again, you have to think of the word concerns. It is important from the exam point of view. It goes with common errors. When someone goes to a person's office, usually the person may say, I would like to meet the concerned person. That is wrong. You have to say, I would like to meet the person concerned. Concerned person means he has concern for you. That doesn't make any sense. Person concerned means person related to a particular department or related to a particular work. That you have to recollect from the Supreme Court of India. And a hurried response. This is a new word. We all know the word hurried. There's a saying in English, you try to do things in a hurry. What is that? Haste makes waste. That means you should not do things in a hurry. So, coming to harried, a new word, worried and angry because people keep wanting things from you. People want something from you, they keep waiting. In that situation, you're worried or angry. Then we use the word harried response. So people expect something from the government. Harried response from the government that pushes for restrictions on free movement and construction. Government that pushes, again, third person singular, es added to the verb, for restrictions on free movement and construction. And what is the impact of that? What is the result? Invariably, without any exception, that's an important word, the weather improves and all is forgiven. Here, all is forgiven, forgive, ignore someone's mistakes or not to consider, stop feeling angry. But all is forgiven, you have to think of active voice and passive voice. We forgive someone, someone is forgiven by us. So here, all is forgiven, it is in present tense, passive voice, that you have to recollect. The recurrent tragedy of addressing the problem of air pollution in Delhi. See, all this comes under subject, but the main word, the key word, tragedy, the recurrent tragedy. This is a noun phrase of addressing the problem, prepositional phrase of air pollution in Delhi. All these are phrases. See, here you have the verb, the recurrent tragedy. Tragedy is that. After that, you have to use a clause. It invariably, without any exception, descends into a blame game. So the sentence says this particular tragedy which happens every winter descends into something, means comes down into something, comes down into what? A blame game. That is the main idea of the editorial. The center, no, what, why is it called a blame game? Someone has to blame someone else. The center blames the Delhi government, and because it belongs to a different political dispensation. Generally, we use the word dispensation, able to be replaced or done without, dispense off something, replace or get rid of something. But here, different political dispensation, it means a different government, not the one in power, and a different one. The center blames the Delhi government. Editorial feels, that is the opinion of the editorial. Why does the center blame the Delhi government? Because it belongs to a different political dispensation, which in turn, here, which means the Delhi government quite conveniently blames farmers in Punjab. So they are trying to blame, the center blames the Delhi government blames the farmers in Punjab. It is nothing but the blame game. What is never addressed head on is that this is a clause in the form of a subject. What is never addressed? What is a clause? It has to make complete sense and there should be a verb. What is never addressed based on head on is that something is. So here, what is never addressed head on? Generally, we use head on collision, means confrontation, face to face. What is never addressed head on is that the air pollution crisis is not a problem that can be solved overnight. Air pollution crisis, there's a problem. What is a problem? Air pollution. And it is a crisis. The air pollution crisis is not a problem that can be solved. It is not a problem that can be solved overnight. Means what? We cannot solve it overnight. We cannot solve it suddenly, immediately, unexpectedly. Not possible. It takes time. And this you have to focus on. We cannot solve the problem. We can solve the problem. We can solve the problem, active voice. The problem can be solved by us, passive voice. Can be solved, passive voice, you have to. With the helping verb can. All the helping verbs in passive voice take the same pattern. You have to repeat the helping verb. You have to use the word be, basic form of to be, bare infinitive without to. And whatever the verb, you have to use a past participle form. She can sing a song. A song can be sung by her. So, same pattern. She can do the work. The work can be done by her. The lockdown last year provided compelling evidence. The lockdown last year subject provided something, what verb? Compelling evidence object. That taking vehicles off the road and a cessation in industrial and construction activity led to clear skies. During the lockdown, what happened? No industrial activity, no construction activity, and we got compelling evidence, something you have to believe. Because of that, Delhi experienced, not only Delhi, many cities experienced clearer skies. Skies became very clear for the first time. Source apportionment. This is an important word. I should have brought it in red. Apportionment means uh, it is like sharing of resources or sharing something between persons or organizations or governments. Source apportionment studies by various institutions have shown present perfect tense that the contribution of stubble burning, the root cause is stubble burning, varies significantly from as low as 4% on some days in October, November to as much as 40%. Look at the variation, 4% to 40%, the impact of stubble burning. But the running of power plants and construction are also necessary activities that cannot be shut at a moment's notice. Stubble burning is one thing. Another reason, running of power plants and construction work. Even these are necessary and they cannot be stopped or they cannot be shut. That is also in passive voice. At a moment's notice, an important phrase. Just like that, it is not possible. How does editorial end? The move to ban the entry of trucks too is not any more effective than waiting for the wind to blow over and has consequences for the economy. It says that the ban on to ban the entry of trucks not that effective, and waiting for the wind to blow over not effective, and it has consequences for the economy. That means economy is going to get affected. Now, what is the future? The way forward, it talks about the future. What should be the outlook? The way forward is to view winter air pollution as a natural disaster. View. The way forward is to view winter air pollution as a natural disaster and target root causes, the crux of the problem, the main reason. Road dust is a dominant source of particulate matter. Now he talks about another aspect. Road dust is a dominant source of particulate matter, suspended particles in the air, and the most significant superlative form. Impediment, we have got the word impediment many a time. Impediment means what? Hindrance, block. To clean air, what is the hindrance to clean air? And unfortunately, the least amenable, there's one important word, amenable, open and responsive to suggestion. That means it is not open and it is not ready to take the suggestions, least amenable to an easy fix. That is a problem. The emphasis, based on all this, the editor concludes the emphasis must be on concerted and consistent efforts and not annual blame games. It talks about blame games, it talks about concerted efforts. So, in a nutshell, it says the emphasis, the solution to this problem, the focus area or the emphasis must be on one, concerted and consistent efforts on the one hand. On the other hand, not on annual blame games. Blame games, no use at all. Now let us go to the grammar point of view, exam point of view, some important phrases, prepositional combinations, and also idioms. Solution to something. It takes a preposition to. Advent of, arrival of, coincide with, something coincides with something else. Focus on the prepositions. A unique practice. This goes with the rules. Before words that begin with a vowel letter but consonantal sound, we have to use a European city, a unique person, a one-eyed person. In a bid to achieve success, in a bid to do something, that means what? In an attempt, effort, set fire to something. Another important expression, set fire to the building, set fire to the stubble, set fire to something. Long standing practice. Long standing practice is nothing but a tradition. But here you have to focus on the word practice. TICE is a noun form, TISC is a verb form. Noxious air quality, word combination. Noxious fumes, noxious air quality. Carries over, phrasal verb, into Delhi. Carries over into Delhi means takes into Delhi city. Bursting of crackers, obviously at the time of Diwali we use this expression, bursting of crackers. Demand for something, demand for someone, demand for something. Ban takes a preposition on, ban on something. A public outcry, a standard phrase, outcry, public disapproval, and public outcry. They don't want something, they try to protest, then we use openly disapprove, outcry. Concerns from, you have to focus on the word concerns. Concerns means what? Why should you focus on that word? Set fire to blaze, yes. Common error, I would like to meet the concerned person wrong. I would like to meet the person concerned correct. All these are standard phrases, obviously, beyond any doubt. All is forgiven. We forgive all. All is forgiven by us. It is present in passive voice. Descend into. Descend to you can use. Descend into also you can use. Blame game. The editorial is all about blame game. On the one hand, on the other hand, concerted and consistent effort. Generally, the expression head on goes with collision. Two vehicles head on collision means they run into each other. Something solved overnight means suddenly, unexpectedly. This is also an important expression. Usually, I tell students you cannot expect success overnight. That is not possible. Everything takes time. Off the road, on the road. Quite often, I say off the track, on the track. Standard phrase. At a moment's notice, just like that, you cannot do something. At a moment's notice, you cannot expect the industries to be closed. And source of something, it takes a preposition of. Impediment to, block to, hindrance to. So preposition to. Amenable, open to suggestions, again it takes a preposition to. Must be on, it must be on, the focus must be on something. Your focus must be on something. So very important. All these expressions, do remember. I don't know how many guys are there, but do remember, I have changed the approach. And the reason being, this is all about language proficiency, obviously. But now exams are around the corner. The focus should be more on language part. All these expressions are phrases, idioms, or prepositional combinations, phrasal verbs, same you get in the exam. And once you focus, I'm giving a separate slide, all important expressions. If you focus on these, definitely you get benefited in the long run. Beyond these, they cannot go, they won't go. I can give in writing. You come across the same expressions. And imagine every day about I have been bringing 20 to 30 expressions, very useful from the exam point of view. Now, let us have a look at the questions. Thank you very much. Uh, Based on the comprehension skill. What is this editorial about? It's all about Delhi air pollution and it's about the blame game. What unfolds in the national capital region before the advent of winter? Air pollution, something unfolds. What unfolds in Delhi before the advent of winter? Keywords. What is now facing criticism because of its emerging link to Delhi's noxious air quality? A particular practice, long standing practice, is now facing criticism because of its emerging link to Delhi's noxious air quality. Exams are in the pipeline. Good. What is a recurrent tragedy? Repeatedly. Something happens repeatedly, a recurrent problem, recurrent tragedy. Of addressing the problem of air pollution in Delhi. The writer uses a recurrent tragedy, means not a solution, blame game, that is a tragedy. In the context of the editorial, what is a way forward? What is a future? In which direction do we have to go? And two things stand out. One is a concerted and consistent efforts, and also stop. They have to stop or end blame game. Two dimensions. Now let us go to the questions, practice questions based on exam topics. What time is it? 44 minutes. I got the positive feedback. A lot of students have responded. I appreciate. I would like to thank those students for the feedback. But some students may not be happy because I'm focusing more on language. But definitely at this juncture, we should focus on the language aspect. And to a great extent, a lot of students, it is like this 80%, 20%. If I focus on language, what I did yesterday, what I've done today, then useful to almost 80%, they may get benefited. I focus on the information, I do analysis, intellectually speaking, from an intellectual point of view. 20% definitely they may get benefited, but 80% they try to understand, they have to struggle. But this way, it is like spoon feeding, very useful, saves your time. Thank you, Ravi Teja. Yes. Thank you, Sai. Very good. Someone has spotted the error. Critics of television often focus on the prevalent, focus on. See, today you have got the previous slide. You got one. This is what I've been telling you guys. I insist, I tell my students to read the newspaper, especially the Hindu paper, headlines and editorials. What is the reason? Bank exams, especially, quite often, whatever questions you come across, they go with whatever you read or come across in the Hindu paper. When you read, when you attempt the questions, you feel so happy. Everything looks familiar, and that makes you very happy. Focus on the preposition on. So you have to, you should be happy. Same expression you see in the exam. Focus on what? The prevalent situation, adjective. But here we have to use the noun form. What is the noun form of this? Prevalence. Thank you very much. So prevalence, noun form, and prevalent, adjective. Again, I have been telling you guys, when you read the Hindu paper also, you come across the word forms, word combinations. Bank exams, quite often they ask questions based on word forms, and close test, fillers, all about word combinations. When you read the Hindu paper, you come across, you become good at word forms, you become good at word combinations. And in the exam, I have a very tight schedule, Raviteja, very tight schedule. So not able to get time. I'm not getting time, not able to squeeze in time. Prevalence is the right word. I appreciate all the students, those who have got it right. Please go to question number 2. I would love to do something, but I have taken up new assignments and so much work to do. Please understand. uh, Many of us have striving to produce a blend of all cultures that seem today to be in clash with one another. An easy one if you understand the context. Many questions are based on contextual awareness. I know a lot of students have been waiting 9 p.m. sessions, but I have to prepare the material and have to teach 8 hours a day. The Hindu, this itself takes about 3 to 4 hours every day. Not getting enough time to. Many of us have striving, not correct, have been striving. Here, still going on. This talks about an action that begins in the past, comes to the present, may go into future. We have to use present perfect, continuous, present perfect continuous tense. Based on that, many of us subject have been striving. You have been striving. Strive means what? To work very hard to achieve success. Have been striving to produce a blend of all cultures that seem today to be in clash with one another. So this question is based on present perfect continuous tense. This is easy. Question number 3 is easy, should not be a problem. Strive means to work very hard to achieve success. You guys have been striving to achieve success. Means what? You have been working very hard to achieve your goal, to make your dream come true. Please mention the question number. If you are talking about the third question, yes, that's right. Oh, Nagamaleshwari, you are here today. Hazards, very easy. Whenever you come across the phrase one of the, there are three rules, but every rule, the noun should be in the plural form. one of the students. This is a common error. A lot of people say one of the student, one of the book, not correct. One of the students, one of the books, one of the managers, one of the hazards. Please go to question number 4. Earth's resources have to be protected and sustained, and we need to share our resources across species, as we all are interconnected as one giant living organism. Here you got to be careful with the spelling. Common error, people write this way, that is not correct, and this is correct spelling. Now, where is the error? Question number 4. Sometimes in the past they would do that. Who is this government job aspirant? In the past, they would give the passages. They would take from the Hindu paper, they would take from the Economic Times. Now people know that, they stopped doing that, they started, especially SBI, they take from magazines like quite often from the Economist. I know 2016, 2017, they took the articles from the Economist magazine, they gave as passage. They also take from international magazines like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Harvard Business Review, and also something like Psychology Today. No problem, no problem. No issues at all. Here, parallel expression, very good. To be protected and to be sustained. Not sustained, sustained. And what is this question about parallel expression? Parallel expression. Protected, sustained. The biggest problem faced by all developing countries is the lack of training manpower. I know you guys are very busy because I think SBI PO prelims it is on 20th and another day 21st. Am I right? Exam is fast approaching. Where is the error? This is again easy. The biggest problem faced by. No, that is faced by, that is understood. Nothing wrong here. The biggest problem faced by all developing countries is a lack of training manpower is not correct. It should be trained, trained manpower. And this is again based on what I say quite often word forms. Training, word is correct, but the form is not correct. We have to say trained manpower. Please go to fillers. Why not? You can definitely, Prasad. When you read a sentence like the government has decided to launch a new policy, then you have to tell yourself it is in present perfect. You can consolidate. The government announced something yesterday. Then you have to tell yourself it is past tense. The government will announce future tense. So, very useful. You can consolidate your grammar knowledge if you read the Hindu editorials or the newspaper for that matter. Now, what is the answer for the first question? One main session weekly. Okay. All the applicants are to be ranked. Here it is in. We are to rank all the applicants, active voice. All the applicants are to be ranked by us, understood. It is in passive voice, are to be ranked. Very good. He is a talk. This is a standard expression, standard phrase. He is a talk. Talk of what? We are running out of time. We have 6 minutes. I want you guys to respond. Yes, talk of the town, not for, not about, not over. He's a talk of the town. Everyone is talking about him. What is the meaning of that? He is a talk of the town. Everyone is talking about him. He is in the limelight. The man was, the man was what? Rewarded for. Why will he be rewarded for his deafness? No, no. The man was cured of his deafness. Convicted, punished, not related. Answer, cured of. They cured him of his deafness. The man was cured of his deafness. Was cured, that is in past tense passive voice. In a classroom, students are to be trained to love students more than two. So, what will you say? This is based on reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronouns are two in number. Each other, one another. Each other for two persons are two things, one another more than two. So, what is the answer? Question number 4. Each other. Very, no, no, not each other, not all others. One another. What is the reason? Here, students, more than two. Two, we have to use each other. More than two, one another. Answer is the third option, obviously. For all his, he is a what? For all his, he is a. Go to the next one. We have 4 minutes to go. I want you guys to answer. Balu Naik says first option. For all his wealth, he is a miser. Here we have to use sentences about contrasting information. Rich miser, contrasting. Health player, not related. Tricks cheat, not related. Stupidity fool, not related. They should be contrasting, opposite. Wealthy miser, contrasting. Now idioms are one word substitutes quickly. Murder of a brother. What is the answer? Murder of a brother. One word substitutes. Talk of the town. Good. Murder of a brother. What is the answer? Fratricide. Pater means father. Patricide, killing one's father. A regicide, royal. Regal means royal, killing a king. Homicide, killing a human being. One person kills another person. Case of homicide. Send or bring somebody back to his own country. Asylum means a shelter. Not correct. Refuge, a place to retreat. Not correct. Repatriate is the answer. Emigrate, going out of the country. So, what is the answer for the second one? I don't think. Pater, not parents, father. Sororicide, Vivek. Murder of a sister. Fratricide, brother or sister. But sister, there's a separate word. Sororicide, murder of a sister. Yes. Please go to the next one. One who accepts pleasure and pain equally. Go to the third one. We have 2 minutes to go. Answer is no one has responded. One who accepts pleasure and pain equally. This is an important one. Stoic in nature, stoicism. Thespian in a particular field, senior with a lot of experience. Sadist, someone who enjoys when others are suffering. Humanitarian, doing something, keeping the mankind in mind or being very kind. On humanitarian grounds, usually we say. The art of producing beautiful handwriting using a brush or a special pen. Yes, that's right, Naresh. You remember, Japanese are known for stoicism. They practice stoicism, stoic in nature. Answer is the first option, calligraphy. Stenciling, once it was popular, cutting the paper based on the shapes. Graphics, you all know computer graphics. Hieroglyphics, an important word. Symbols used, this goes with Egypt. The symbols used, if you enter a particular pyramid, Egypt and goes with pyramids, hieroglyphics. So answer is the first option. To play the part of and function as some other person. Oh, it's already 8 o'clock. Imitate, not correct. Pretend, not correct. Act, not correct. Impersonate. What is the answer? Impersonate. Like maps. Answer is no, 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 no. Fifth one answer is the third option, impersonate. I will try to squeeze in some time. We'll do the idioms very fast because it's already 8. Get on somebody's nerves means what? To be an irritant, be on the air, broadcast over the radio or on TV. Mind your language, tell someone to speak politely. Be in two minds, unable to decide, wet behind the ears, lacking experience, or be immature. So that's all for today from this editorial. Thanks for being with me till 8 o'clock. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow. And do remember to subscribe and share. Join the Telegram group. It is working. But mobile, there's a problem. Use laptop, you can. All that you have to do, click on the link. Every day, a lot of students join every day. That means it's working. And I'll provide the PDF